You're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is Bill in West LA.
Hi, Bill.
Hi. I'm doing artwork myself now for a living professionally. I just wanted to say that when I was first starting to be drawn, into that back in grammar school, you were a tremendous influence on me, Mr. Kirby. Your work, it really meant a lot to me. We would be in class and there's kids gluing macaroni on the paper, and I'm over in the corner drawing Darkseid. It's kind of hard to explain, but secondly, I was kind of wondering, I was a great fan of the New Gods saga, though, the Fourth World series. I was wondering if you could say a few words about the source and how the idea for that came about in your mind. Because I was always really intrigued by the source. It's kind of
the source, like everything else, is an everyday fact. We live. The sources lives with us day by day. We don't know what the source is, where it is. We can't identify its form, but we know it's there. This thing, this tremendous thing governs our lives, and somehow we can all feel it inside. It's referred to as spiritual. It's referred to in many other ways, but we know instinctively that it's there, and that's what I put down in my stories, because like everybody else, I felt this thing, and I felt that it was real, and I've kept it with me all my life.
All right, thank you for calling.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. You're in hour 25 with Jack Kirby. Go ahead.
Hi, Jack. How you doing?
Just fine.
Since Batman's success, there's been a lot of movies coming around, I guess, with this superhero type thing. Is there anything to do with the Punisher coming out? I understand Dolph Lundgren is going to be some Punisher thing, or is there?
Well, that's a decision of Marvel's. I don't know when it'll be made, or who is going to...
Sorry. Last I heard, it has been made, and it's going to cassette, I understand.
Oh, I see.
It's only cassette only?
Apparently.
Oh.
Yeah, we shelved because Dolph Lundgren's picture, Red Scorpion, went right into the dumper, and they didn't want to release another picture with Dolph Lundgren.
Oh, okay. Is there some sort of tie-in with fascination with superheroes right now for the movies, or is it just because Batman made so much money? They're going to start to go overboard with this kind of stuff.
Well, my guess it was Batman who generated the trend. I think the trend will continue, and you'll see good ones made and bad ones made, but the trend will continue, and the superhero has and always will be part of the American scene. And of course, today he's visual. And I believe that he'll stay visual and in motion.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. And you're in hour 25. Go ahead.
Yes, I want to be quick about this because I don't want to get it to Mr. Kirby's time, but I believe John Severin, whose fine work on King Carl as the artist and Marie as a colorist, they're not, however, husband and wife. I believe they're brother and sister. I'm fairly sure about that. I'm not positive, but I think they're brother and sister.
I think you're right.
All right, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Now, there's a connection between you and Mr. Kirby, which maybe Jack isn't even aware of.
No, Jack and I talked about
you
it
did?
beforehand, yeah.
Well,
Are you going to bring up the giant worms
absolutely,
coming out of the earth again?
I must bring it up. I'll explain the background.
When I was working at Ruby Spears as a writer, Jack was working there doing conceptions and models and all of his creative things. And the first day I was there, Joe Ruby said, I have this terrific idea for you to work on, Larry. Giant worms coming up out of the earth, devouring cities. And I said, why did I ever quit my last job and come here with this cigar-smoking madman who wants me to do giant worms coming out of the earth? 65 episodes of giant worms coming up out of the earth. But the one great thing about it was Jack Kirby artwork, which would come over the transom, and I'd get all these wonderful Xeroxes of all these terrific machines and these terrific characters, and that was wonderful. Now, that series never got made.
What'd you think of this worm stuff?
Well, like anything else, it was a story to tell. You could do it well. You could do it in a mediocre fashion.
Yeah.
It depends on the storyteller.
But you couldn't do it for 65 episodes.
Well-
I was convinced of that.
Of course, that's an opinion. We all have our own opinion, and I think we're all entitled to them. And somehow, maybe someday, we may see those worms or we may not. I don't think it's going to change our lives one way or the other.
I think did you do the conceptions on Centurions as well?
I believe so.
Yeah, because I worked on Centurions as well
Yes.
at the Ruby Studios, which actually was a very good show, both in artwork and writing.
Yeah.
But it went right off the air because it was the end of those end of the toy days.
Well, it was out of my hands. It was, the conceptions were as far as I went.
How do you like the new superheroes in the 40s, 30s, 40s, 50s? Even as far as the 60s, the superheroes
Yes.
had a kind of innocence to them. They were less human up until the Fantastic Four
Well,
started.
they're deadly now.
Yeah,
they're
they'll
deadly.
kill you.
Yes, and they're violent now.
Yeah.
They want to do the real thing. So, I think that I think that very pleasant type of feeling has gone out of the comic. I mean, if
You can almost
if
not
you-
call them comic anymore.
well, if you see the illustration of somebody choking some guy, it's going to be the real thing. I mean, this guy is going to look like, he's being constricted, and they're going to make this one panel will stick out of the entire story, and you lose your train of thought. You lose the rest of the story. Some fellow feels that this is the kind of picture he likes to draw, and he'll draw it so well that it will attract the reader to this one panel, and in doing so, the artist will lose the rest of the story, because the rest of the story will never match that panel. That panel will jump right out of the story, and the reader will concentrate on it. And of course, I feel that it's a loss for the artist, that the entire story matters.
We have about 2 minutes left, 3 minutes left.
Yes.
There are those now trying to revive the campaign. The comic books are evil and not good for people, all this sort of thing.
Frederick Wortham
Yeah.
did in the 50s.
Yeah. What's your response to those people who are, again, trying to revive this idea that comics are bad for you?
I think it's wrong. I think it's up to us to decide what's good for us. If it's going to hurt you, you'll feel it, and you won't continue. I think they ought to give you that choice. I think that comic books, like any other literature, when it's done by good men, will give you the thrill of a lifetime. And who can compare, say, an adventure like Moby Dick and stories like that with, say, mediocre fiction of the hard book kind. So there is outstanding literature, and there are stories that fade away. It will always remain that way. We can't stop it.
All right. We are out of time. It's been a terrific 2 hours. What?
Rats.
Rats?
Out of time.
I know. We appreciate you coming down here to the station, Mr. Kirby. It's been a genuine pleasure for all of us.
Oh, it's been my pleasure, surely, and you people have been very nice, and
Although I'm
I don't
sorry,
know what to do
you
about it.
stopped smoking
and
cigarettes.
no,
I
I'm
know it's
glad
better
I
for
did.
you, but
And I probably would have melted your walls.